did Adolf Hitler hate the Jews so fiercely? What lies behind one of history's darkest and most tragic chapters? If you think you already know the reasons, think again. The truth is far more complex and far more disturbing than the usual stories you've heard. In this video, we will peel back the layers of propaganda, fear, politics, and ideology to reveal the disturbing reality behind Hitler's hatred for the Jewish people. This is not just a history lesson, but a warning, a deep dive into how dangerous myths and manipulations can lead to unimaginable horrors. Setting the stage, Europe before Hitler. To understand Hitler's hatred, we must first understand the world he was born into. Late 19th and early 20th century Europe was a place of deep divisions and uncertainty. Nationalism was on the rise. Empires were struggling, and economic upheaval created fertile ground for anti-Semitism. Hostility and prejudice against Jews had a long history in Europe. Jews were often marginalized, accused of controlling finance, or blamed for social problems. Centuries-old stereotypes and myths were still alive. Many Europeans saw Jews as the other, a convenient target for frustration and fear. Germany, especially after its defeat in World War I, was in crisis. The Treaty of Versailles humiliated the nation, imposed heavy reparations, and crippled the economy. Millions were unemployed, starving, and desperate for answers. The stab in the back myth and scapegoating Jews, a powerful myth, took hold in Germany after World War I. The so-called stab in the back theory. It claimed that Germany didn't lose the war on the battlefield, but was betrayed by internal enemies, socialists, communists, and most dangerously, Jews. This lie spread rapidly. It blamed Jews for Germany's defeat and suffering, even though Jewish soldiers had fought bravely alongside other Germans. This scapegoating fed a toxic narrative. The Jews were traitors, enemies of the German people. Hitler, a young man scarred by Germany's defeat and this widespread resentment, latched onto this myth. He used it to build his political movement, promising to restore Germany's greatness by removing these enemies within. Hitler's ideology, race, purity, and the Jewish question at the heart of Hitler's worldview was a twisted racial ideology. He believed in the supremacy of the so-called Aryan race, a mythic pure Germanic lineage that he claimed was destined to rule Europe. 2. Hitler Jews were the antithesis of this purity. He saw them not just as a religious group, but as a dangerous racial enemy, corrupt, manipulative, and responsible for all the world's ills. This pseudoscientific racism was grounded in distorted theories popular at the time, but twisted further by Nazi propaganda. Hitler's hatred was fanatical. In his book Mein Kampf, he laid out his vision of a Germany cleansed of Jews, which he called the Jewish question. This wasn't just political rhetoric. It was a dangerous blueprint that would lead to genocide. The role of propaganda and indoctrination propaganda was the weapon Hitler used to turn hatred into action. The Nazis controlled the media, schools, films, and rallies to spread their anti-Jewish message. Posters, newspapers, and speeches portrayed Jews as subhuman, greedy parasites who threatened German society. Children were taught to fear and despise Jews from an early age. This constant barrage normalized hatred and prepared millions to accept increasingly brutal policies. The regime's propaganda was masterful at manipulating emotions, fear, pride, anger, to unite Germans against a common enemy. It made evil look necessary and justified. From discrimination to mass murder, the Holocaust unfolded. At first, Nazi policies targeted Jews with laws that isolated and marginalized them, banning them from professions, confiscating property, and segregating them from public life. But discrimination was just as big. As World War II expanded, Nazi leaders moved to what they called the final solution, the systematic extermination of the Jewish people. Millions were rounded up and sent to concentration camps like Auschwitz, where industrial-scale murder was carried out. 6 million million Jews, men, women, and children were murdered. It was the largest, most horrific genocide in human history. Why did Hitler kill Jews? The real reason, though. Why did Hitler kill Jews? Was it purely racial hatred? Was it political scandal? Or something deeper? The answer lies in a deadly combination of his warped ideology, desire for power, and a society ready to believe in easy answers. Hitler used Jews as the ultimate scapegoat to unite and control Germany. By blaming Jews for every problem, economic collapse, lost war, social unrest, he created a common enemy to rally his supporters. His racial obsession turned political hatred into a genocidal mission. 2. Hitler. Killing Jews was not just a crime, it was a necessary act to purify Germany and secure its future. Lessons from history. Never forget the hate. Hitler's spread did not emerge from nowhere. It was a product of centuries of prejudice, lies, and fear. This history is a grim reminder of what can happen when hatred is allowed to flourish unchecked. It shows the danger of scapegoating minorities and the power of propaganda to manipulate millions. We must remember the victims of the Holocaust and educate ourselves in future generations. Understanding the truth behind Hitler's hatred is not just about the past. It's about preventing such horrors from ever happening again. Hitler's hatred for the Jews was fueled by fear, lies, and a deadly ideology that manipulated millions. The truth is complex and painful, but vital to understand. If we learn from history, we can build a world that rejects hatred and embraces humanity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more deep historical insights.